What made the high school legend become a legend? We had this chemistry teacher, Mr. Harrison, who thought he was teaching at a military academy instead of public high school. His classroom was like a prison. No talking, no phones, and absolutely no leaving during his critical demonstrations. My junior year, I got stuck with him for AP Chemistry. First day, he handed out his infamous classroom constitution, a list of rules so specific it included exactly how many millimeters your pencil could extend from your desk. But rule number 17 was the one everyone feared. No student shall exit the classroom during designated critical demonstrations. Plan biological functions accordingly. Tyler Fisher was this quiet kid who always sat in the back row. Super smart, but never raised his hand. What most didn't know was that Tyler had type 1 diabetes. He'd been diagnosed at 7, and sometimes needed to step out to handle his blood sugar. During the first week, Tyler gave Harrison his doctor's note explaining his condition. Harrison glanced at it for maybe 3 seconds before sliding it into his desk drawer, saying, "Medical condition or not, my classroom, my rules." By October, we'd reached Harrison's famous colored fire demonstration, the one day he allowed himself to show enthusiasm. He had us gather around his lab table in a semicircle, dimmed the lights dramatically, and started mixing chemicals to create bursts of colored flames. About 15 minutes in, I noticed Tyler checking something under his desk. His face looked pale, and he was sweating despite the room being freezing. He raised his hand, waiting while Harrison ignored him to explain why strontium chloride made a red flame. "Mr. Harrison," Tyler finally said, his voice steady, "I really need to use the bathroom." Harrison barely looked up. "You know the rules, Mr. Fisher. This is the highlight of my curriculum." Tyler shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, it's important. It's related to my medical condition. Your medical condition can wait 10 minutes. Harrison was already preparing for the blue flames everyone was waiting for. I saw Tyler check something in his lap again, probably his blood sugar monitor, and his expression changed. He raised his hand once more, urgently this time. "Mr. Harrison, please, I'm diabetic and my blood sugar is dropping. I need to leave now or get something from my bag." The class was getting uncomfortable. Even kids who usually enjoyed Harrison's strict rule enforcement were exchanging worried glances. Harrison crossed his arms over his lab coat. "Nice try, Mr. Fisher. I've heard every excuse imaginable in my 30 years of teaching. Sit down and pay attention." Tyler looked at him for a long moment, then around at all of us watching. He shrugged and said quietly, "You were warned." What happened next became Westlake High legend. Tyler calmly unzipped his backpack and pulled out his emergency kit. Without saying another word, he lifted his shirt slightly, right there at the demonstration table, and gave himself an insulin injection in front of Harrison and the entire class. The room went silent. Harrison's demonstration forgotten as 30 teenagers and one increasingly pale teacher watched Tyler administer his life-saving medication. "My blood sugar is dangerously low," Tyler explained calmly. "I needed to either get a snack from my locker or take insulin. Since you wouldn't let me leave, this was my only option." Harrison stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish. For the first time ever, he had absolutely nothing to say. The colored flames died out behind him. Someone in the back broke the silence. "Dude, that was badass." The next day, the principal made a school-wide announcement about a new medical accommodation policy. All teachers received special training the following week. Harrison's classroom constitution mysteriously disappeared from his syllabus, replaced with reasonable guidelines. For the rest of the year, whenever Harrison started getting too strict, someone would just whisper, "Remember Tyler," and he'd immediately back down. Tyler never mentioned it again, just kept quietly acing every test. He graduated as valedictorian and is now in medical school. But at Westlake, he'll always be the legend who brought down Harrison's iron rule with a single, perfectly timed insulin shot.